Yeah, welcome back to this class. We're going to talk about a wonderful topic. Let's go on to the class immediately. Okay, so in this tutorial, we are going to be talking about brooding processes. Brooding processes. So this means you're now preparing to start brooding. So preparing for new chicks. If your pen is new, that means if your pen was you built your pen very new. So it means you have to wash and dry it for at least 2 weeks. Wash, wash the pen and allow it to stay for 2 weeks. Otherwise, if it is not, you need to disinfect for at least 3 to 4 days before the arrival of new chicks. Meaning, if it's not uh, a new brooding house, you have used it before, it means you have to disinfect the place at 3 or 4 days before the arrival of new chicks. Materials needed for brooding. Materials needed for brooding. Some of the materials needed for brooding includes wood shavings, alternatively sawdust, newspaper, just as I showed you before, or carton paper, baby feeders, baby drinkers, heating stoves or brooding stoves, hoovers, it can also be called hoovers, which will require external heat source such as charcoal or good burning woods that can sustain its heat. I hope you are following up. This brooding stove or hoovers will require external heat. It will require external heat, and this external heat can only be applied with charcoal or good woods that can burn very well, that can last, that can sustain fire, okay, that can sustain its heat for a long period, and kerosene for making the fire or adding to stove to sustain heat. So if you are using stove, you'll be adding kerosene always. So it is actually expensive using only stove because you burn a whole lot of kerosene. So disinfectants for washing the drinkers and feeders. You need disinfectants for washing the drinkers and feeders. You can also use salt as a disinfectant. You can use salt in washing them instead. Scale, you need scale. You need scale to weigh the actual arrival weight. Though this is not necessary, it's not too necessary. You need bucket for mixing medication and supplying of water. Note, all necessary arrangements must be made before the arrival of the day of the chicks to avoid last-minute rush, because any mistake at this point could lead to something not good. So you have to prepare everything on ground, make everything available before the arrival of the chicks. So this is the process. 4 days to arrival of the day old chicks. Disinfect the whole pen, wood shavings, feeders and drinkers. You see? 2, you have to spread the wood shavings or other material evenly on the floor. Spread them on the floor. Those things you want to spread on the floor. Either newspaper or carton paper or sawdust or wood shavings, spread them on the floor. The wood shavings should be 2 inch or even 1 inch to 5 inch high. And if you are using newspaper, you have to double it twice on the floor. You have to double it twice on the floor. If the number of chicks is too small for the available pen. Then you have to demarcate the pen with a wooden board to avoid scattering wood shavings in areas that is not useful. So if this uh, available space is too big, for the pen, for the chicks on ground, you have to demarcate them with a wood or a plywood. You have to demarcate, or a board. You can use a board to demarcate, so that you don't waste your wood shavings or other materials, and the birds also would be scattering themselves. So place the stoves or brooding hoovers around the area to be used at different locations to disseminate the heat. Okay, so this means you should keep the stoves or the brooding hoovers at the corners where you want them to be, at the different location, different corners where you want them to be. So if you want to keep uh, the stoves, you should keep at least 1 meter. You should keep one. If you keep one here, you should keep another one at 1 meter again. You keep another one 1 meter. You keep another one 1 meter, just like that. You should be calculating them 1 meter by 1 meter, 1 meter by 1 meter, until you keep them all. So if you are using normal stoves, check them very well. Check the threads and kerosene supply and fire source available. So check the stove very well. Check the threads, make sure the threads are good. Provide the flat baby feeders and make sure the feeds available are new feeds. Provide the flat baby feeders. So the chicks actually use a flat feeder. Disinfect the brooding pen and cover everywhere until the arrival day of the birds. Disinfect the brooding pen and cover everywhere until the arrival day of the birds. So that means on that same fourth day when you are preparing, this is when you do everything. Now this is the arrival day of the chicks. So 3 or 4 hours. 3 or 4 hours. Remember, the first one is the first duration was 3 to 4 days before the arrival. Now, before the arrival again, that's 3 to 4 hours, not days. 3 to 4 hours before the arrival. Put on the stoves. Or put on the heat source. Place them under the hoovers or light up the charcoal stoves and get your scale and vitamins ready. The scale may not be necessary, but get your vitamins ready. When they arrive, the first thing is to weigh them to know their weight, and or same time to know the total number supplied to you. So you may not necessarily weigh them, just count them to know the total number you have available. So you'll be able to keep good records of your birds. So samples of their weight could be from 10, 20 to 30 grams each. And before that, you should first put vitamin and anti-stress in water for them so they drink as you count and drop. So this is what you do on their arrival. So thank you very much for this class, and in our next tutorial we'll be going straight to a wonderful topic again. Thank you.